All right, good morning slash afternoon, depending on, I guess, where you are. Welcome to the Power Players segment. We've got a very special guest today here. Thomas Becker is with us. Thomas is the CEO and founder of the Financial Cloud and Educational community with live trading that teaches auction market theory as well as easy algos, an algo-based community that provides strategies and education on automated trading. Thomas is from Madison, Wisconsin, been trading futures for 6 years. Welcome, Thomas. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Pretty excited to be here today.
And we're glad to have you with us. You're from Madison, Wisconsin. I understand that's one of the top cities in the country to live in, but it probably means you're a Packer fan.
I am a Packer fan, yeah. I actually live outside the city, but I figured I'd put Madison so people kind of knew where I lived.
Are you anywhere around the shores of Lake Mendota?
No, I live out in the country in a small town called Jefferson, which is a little farming community, so not much happens here.
Yeah, it keeps things nice and quiet for you, huh?
Yeah, I got kids, so it's a good safe area to raise them.
Nice.
Very nice. How many kids you got?
Kind of quiet. Thomas, could you turn up your mic a little bit more?
Yeah.
You can crank it.
All right, how's that?
So maybe a little bit soft, maybe a little better. We'll see how it goes.
Let me see if I can crank it up on the computer. Open volume.
It's pretty cool, Mike. It's lit up.
Oh, you know what? How about now?
Much better.
I had the wrong microphone selected. It should be much better now.
Sure is.
Yeah. Right. Very good.
Yeah, it's my Hypercast.
Got it. How many kids you got?
I got two little girls, 2 and 4.
Girls. Very fun. Very fun. They're the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they give me a lot of joy and a lot of headaches.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got two. I've got a girl who's 26 and a boy who's 24.
Ah, so now you're dealing in the part where you just give them money.
You pretty
No, they don't. They probably always cost, but they give back tenfold.
Pretty much. You've got that done already.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, Thomas has some links that we can put into the chat so you can look him up on your own. But we're very interested in kind of hearing about your path as a trader. Now you've mentioned that you were a discretionary trader. Now you're pretty much all algo. Tell us, from the beginning, what got you into trading, and we'll go from there.
I have a typical Wall Street bets entry into trading. So, wanted to strike it rich fast, learned really hard lessons really fast. So I think it was like 7 years ago, I was over at my brother-in-law's house and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to send you this link. If you sign up, we each get a free stock." And he sent me a link for Robinhood. And then I got approved for options like 6 months later. I was doing good just trading penny shares for a while, just trying to figure it out. And, I was like, I made like $100 today. That's not bad, right?
Right.
And then I got in options trading and started researching. I found like stocktwits.com, joined a couple rooms there. Then I found Discord, started joining different Discord communities, learned more about options trading, started doing that. At the time, making $50 a day was exciting. And little did I know that was going to lead down to a really dark rabbit hole. But I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have this story. So I started options trading, probably lost like 15 grand. And I had like $1,000 left in my account. And I went all in on a stock, Cigna. And then Trump came out and signed a healthcare reform tax credit bill. And I made $250,000 overnight.
Holy cow. Wow. That's some luck, huh?
Yeah, then I was addicted from there. So I took 150 grand out, paid off all my debt, my student loans, my wife's student loans. And then I had 100K left and I gambled that away over the next 6 months. So that was fun. And then I kind of took a break. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, do I? And I took a year off and That was probably about 6 months to a year. Came back, started really honing down. I learned supply and demand. I learned Elliott wave. I learned Wyckoff. Like anything I could get my hands on, I was just like a sponge. And I joined a couple of really big trading communities. Eventually got featured in a couple of big discords as like a TA specialist, where you share your charts and ideas, and started growing a following there. And then I was like, why is no one automating this stuff? It's like everyone, when you're trading, it's so emotional. You see yourself up and you see yourself down, and you want to make knee-jerk reactions, and you end up usually selling at support because you're down $1,000. You're like, I'm just going to cut my losses. And I was like, if I can take the emotions out of it and automate it, I think I know what I'm doing. I just need to take that human element out of it. And so the last 3 years, I've been working on that. I started the Financial Cloud as just kind of a newsletter originally, and we started sending out Sunday newsletters with, important events on the week, data releases, our stocks that we were looking at that we liked. We're like, here's why we like the charts. They have this setup. They have fundamentals say this. This is why we like them. And then we'd give like 10 different options for, it's like, hey, if you want to just trade shares, you could do that. If you want to sell covered calls, you could do that. And we think it's going to go here potentially. And we just give our opinion, and people could take it and do what they want with it. And then 6 months after I launched the newsletter, we launched our first automated alerts, not necessarily automated trading, but we created alerts off of options flow. So we would analyze options flow. We'd figure out like, where are the whales buying? Where is there like, if there's just like rapid call buying in a stock, we would be able to alert that automatically. So it's a really good way for people to see like where the money was flowing, and they could follow it if they wanted. And so we had a community for that for 2 years, and we still have that community. We've shifted more away from alerts and more towards education though. So I hired the two best traders that I could find. Both are extremely talented. Sig and Dapper are their nicknames in the Discord, and they are extremely good at teaching auction market theory, which I think is the best way to day trade. I'm sure you are familiar with auction market theory.
Yes, I am.
I think if you're going to be trading futures, I think it's one of the best ways to trade it. I think it's reliable, it's repeatable, and it takes a little bit practice, obviously, but I think it's something, if you dedicate yourself to, you can really learn and get good at. So they run the Financial Cloud for me day to day, and they do live trading every day. And then I run my startup now is called Easy Algos. It's a closed community of just 50 people. And I do that to protect the integrity of the algos, because I don't want too many people trading the exact same entries, obviously. But
right.
And they all run different things. We all have different setups. Like, for instance, like I might trade something that is suited for my account that is, $100,000. But if someone has a $5,000 account, they don't necessarily want to trade the same thing I'm trading, because they might trade micros. I might trade minis. I might trade a more aggressive setup. They might trade a more, conservative. And with that, you can tailor that stuff. It's really nice that we can trade micros or minis and kind of tailor to your own risk level.
Of course,
so it's been a long journey, but I'm extremely happy where I'm at. It's been a long time coming, and I'm very happy with how everything's turning out. I think everyone in the communities are happy too.
So you've certainly taken your lumps, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had days where I've lost 6 figures, and I've had days where I've made 6 figures, and I tell you what, it's not good for your emotions.
No,
I've had days where I put my head in my hands and I was like, what did I just do?
But it seems to be important to the progress of any trader is to feel what it's like to have that happen, and then not want it to happen again.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good kick in the balls to really motivate you to not want to do that again. There's days where I'd put sticky notes in my computer and be like, don't do this. Don't trade the opening range, because you're going to get burned every time. Wait till Euro close, because that's when market stability, kind of evens out, and you can see the trend a lot better. I used to put sticky notes on my monitors when I was manual trading to remind myself.
So are you pretty much just trading futures as a day trader now, or are you still working on some of the options and some of the stocks?
Yeah, I still do options trading. It's a lot more swing based and a lot more wheel based. So selling options, long term, 3 months to year out options. So that way I don't have to monitor it all the time. I sit here and I want to make sure my algorithms are working. So I try to monitor theirs as much as possible, because nothing's worse than, say, your computer crashes or something and you're stuck in a trade and
no stop, no nothing.
Well, if everything's working, everything should have stopped. But
right.
I've had it before where, you send an order to the server and it gets rejected, and you got to make sure you're there to go place it yourself if that happens.
Okay. So you're basically just kind of way out of the money long-term, collecting premium and letting them follow, right?
Yeah. So, my primarily way of trading options now is long-term investing. So let's say I want to invest in Microsoft. Well, instead of just going and buying the stock, if I like the price point, I'll just sell some puts below. And if I get exercise, then I'll go long on the stock and I'll exercise those puts to buy the stocks. And then when I'm long on, let's say I'm in shares, then I'll start selling covered calls.
Covered calls.
That way, yeah. And then if those calls get exercised, I'll sell puts again. When those get exercised, I'll sell covered calls. And let's say those covered calls expire worthless, I'll do it again and again and again. And that's the way, I pick my favorite stocks, and I have my universe of stocks. And that's kind of how I do my long-term investing while I do my day trading with the algorithms. And yeah, I still do manually day trade, of course, from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that I tend to get emotional, and I know that about myself. So if I can be like an 80% trader. The problem is that 20% I lose, I go down the rabbit hole and I keep trying to double down to get my losses back. So, and I'm sure that's what a lot of traders do. And I know that about myself. So, usually if I have a good day, I'll just go and do something else and I'll turn everything off. And, there's no point in over trading. If you have a good day, go enjoy it.
Right. For sure. Are you, I've seen people, just kind of collecting premium for weeks, months, even years at a time. But that one day when something happens and they're short those options, you can get whacked on those days. You can lose a year on those.
Yeah, if you're selling naked options, absolutely. Mine are all backed by shares. So, worst case, I'm going to lose my shares and my premium, and I'll still end up making money on it usually. So I've never had like one of those days where like you sell a naked call and you get trapped on the worst side. And even with that, if you were to do that, you should always have like a stop loss in place in terms of like, if you're down 10%, you buy your position back, right?
Right.
So everything should always have a risk and reward. If you don't have a plan, then you're not going to be successful.
All right. Your algos, pretty much mostly futures?
All futures. I run them on Topstep as well, and they work great. You guys have been really good at allowing algo traders to, work within your prop firm, unlike some other prop firms out there that don't necessarily like people trading algos. And I get why, you have those high frequency traders that try to take advantage of things where, mine only take 2 to 3 trades a day. They wait for the right setups and they work great, and it's worked really good for me so far. I'm sure the market will humble me in the future like it always does. But yeah, I do, NQ, ES, YM, micros as well, and RTY, just the main ones. I've been working on developing some more exotic ones like oil and natural gas and gold and, the euro and things like that. But, the markets that move are the ones that you want to play the most. And those are the ones that are the most consistent, have the lowest slippage or, difference between the bid and ask. Because if you trade the more exotic, then, you're instantly in a bad position if you get a bad fill. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things I learned when I dabbled into Forex. I was like, oh, this is not fun when you're down $200 on entry.
Right. So, right. Well, yeah, those Forex is, you're at the whim of the liquidity pool, right? They're the ones that pick the spreads. But how difficult? Did you have coding knowledge? Did you know how to create algos and automated trading, or is this something that you learned along the way?
So I went to school originally in college for computer science and coding. So I did have a coding background, but I got out of it for 15 years. So I had to pick it back up. And while I was teaching myself, I did outsource a lot of stuff where I'd go hire coders. I joined a really good community earlier this year. Shout out to my friend Jacob. And it's really been helping me hone my algos down and really figure out what I was doing wrong. You know, a lot. And I started out, everything seemed that all the long based algos seemed to make more money. And so I was heavily weighted into those. And then, we go through a market correction and nothing's working. You're losing for weeks. And I was like, I need to have a balanced portfolio of ones that long and short. And then, you have to figure out, like, how do you back test properly? How do you forward test? How do you make sure that your algos are uncorrelated so they're not firing at the same time? Because, you want a good mix of things that trade different environments. So you want trend-based algos, you want chop-based algos, you want mean reversion algos, because, most of the time the market's just chopping between ranges. You don't really have, like 20% of days are actually trend-based. The rest are just the market, settling price action from the previous day.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was going to ask you that. I mean, I've never traded automated. I don't code. I'm too old, I think, to learn how to do that at this point. But there's different market states, and you kind of answered this question: is you've created different algos for different market states. Now,
yeah.
If it's a range bound or if it's an uptrend or a downtrend, you've got algos that you're going to run in those types of situations. How do you determine the market state with enough accuracy to choose the right algo to turn on?
That's the beauty. I run them all the time.
You run them all the time.
Yep. I trying to pick and choose. There's no way to statistically backtest that. So like you're just messing with your statistics. So, for me, I run, data sets up to 2 years back. I try to determine like how the market's been trading over the last 2 years, and then I'll optimize my algos for that data. And then every quarter I will re-optimize the data. So if some new news comes out, I will then go and I'll look at it, the performance. And if I need to make adjustments, I'll tweak and do what I have to do. And I think that's, there's no perfect algo out there. That's why I have, a collection of a dozen different algorithms that work together. I may lose $2,000 on one today that's trying to short, but if I coded it correctly, it shouldn't be trying to short in a day that we're above opening range high, So a lot of it's just making sure that the algo picks the correct environment to trade in. So like, let's say you wanted to have like a trending environment, you might have it where you cannot go short if price is above the 20 moving average. And that's just a simple thing that you could do. Or, you could do like a larger moving average. Say if we're above the 200 day, we're potentially trending in the direction up. And then you might want to place an entry when we come back to retest that. So you're buying the retest of the breakout. That's something that a lot of breakout traders will do, is they won't buy the initial breakout, they'll buy the retest.
The retest.
Even if you see today, we had that large opening range and then we had the retest, and then we've been trending up ever since that retest.
Right.
So, I have volatility and news-based algorithms too. So they detect unusual volume and they'll look at the market and say, okay, this is unusual volume. The market's trending up. I'm going to try to piggyback that for a quick 10-second trade. And that usually only trades opening range because that's usually when we get the unusual volume. But, you might get a data release from something in the war overseas, and you might get, something in the afternoon like FOMC, or you might get a Fed speaker or something like that that'll move the market. They'll say something about interest rates, or there'll be a treasury note dump or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That all of a sudden you have people jumping in for liquidity. And I think it's just, if people are going to get into it, you have to know what you're doing, not only with the code wise, but you have to know markets. So I think it's one of the most specialized like ways of trading, but I think it is also can be one of the most lucrative if you can figure it out. But
right.
It took me 3 years, so don't think you're just going to do it overnight. So
I was going to say, there's a lot of work that goes into this, isn't there?
Yeah, There is a ton. And, NinjaTrader is great because you can actually build your strategies in the strategy analyzer builder or the strategy builder. So you don't actually need to know how to code anymore. A lot with these programs, you can go in and say, I want to build a strategy. I want it to buy based on these conditions, and I want it to sell based on these conditions. And you can do that within NinjaTrader, which I know you guys work with.
Sure. But is that, I mean, there'd be pretty kind of simple rule based if this then that types of situations. Is that really what you're creating?
That's all code is. It's if this happens, do this, else do this, otherwise do this, and it's just defining your rules specifically for what you want to trade. And if you have a certain style that you like to trade and you can define that in that type of environment, you could probably go make an algorithm for your style of trading. And I think that's, any good trader should have a system, I think, because if you don't have a system that you can tweak, how do you know what you're really doing if you're just willy-nilly in it all day and be like, I just like to trade when I see a big green candle? That's never going to be long-term sustainable.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly have to have reasons for what you're doing, and a basic system or strategy, because you want to know if you're trading outside that strategy, you're only going to get good kind of reviewable information if you are consistently doing things. So and I think these algos are kind of a good way to just make sure you are consistently doing these things.
Yeah, and I've been trading real cash money for a few months now. I am overall positive, so that is happy to say that. And I just started algo trading in December. I did sims for the first 6 months to figure out if my stuff works.
Mm-hmm.
I started probably real trading money in June, July. Got my ass kicked. Got my butt kicked the first 3 months once we went through. Once we went through a correction, I took the cash accounts down. I started testing them out on Topstep and designing them to have low drawdowns. And Topstep has actually made me refine the way I make algorithms because of the rules they put in place to protect traders. And I think not only does it help traders learn how to trade better, but it does also help me learn how to make better algorithms. Because if I can make algorithms that play within your rules, they're probably pretty good. I will say, I wish you guys allowed more micros though, so that I could play a little bit more around with those. But
Understood. It's
I know you guys are working on that.
It's something we're working on. Yeah. So, hopefully, I don't have a timeline, of course, but hopefully that'll happen sooner than later. But so if you have to go back and tweak one of your algos, is that a time consuming effort to do that, or is it kind of plug and play?
So one really cool thing that I love about NinjaTrader, and I've been working with Nick Dolby to suggest things for Topstep X2, because I know you guys are working on potentially building an API into that, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have it where you can go and have the computer optimize your algorithms for you. So you'll pick your data sets that you want to optimize over. So I say I want to optimize for the last 2 years. I could say, okay, I want to optimize the last 2 years. I want to know what the best RSI levels are to trade over the last 2 years. And I want to say, I want my algo to have a range between 5 and 50 RSI. It'll then use machine learning, a form of it. They'll run iterations between 5 and 50, and they'll give me the best results back. And then it's my job to run that live and see if it works live as well, because, we can test as much as we want on the past. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again. We like to think it does. That's why trading works, right? Because patterns tend to repeat, but they don't always repeat exactly the same.
Right. It seems like similar things happen, but nothing happens exactly the same twice ever.
No. When we switched to 0-day expirations on a lot of options, the market started trading different. We started getting more mean regression back to open, and with people selling options, they want those to expire. So you see a lot more volatility now intraday, and you see a lot more closes being closer to the opens. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but I think it was about a year ago, SPX went to every day, and then all these options are going to 0 DTE. And now you even have Robinhood selling 24-hour shares, which I don't understand how that works. They probably have to create a special class or something, but I think it's crazy. Everything's going towards more and more and more. And so you're getting more volume, more volatility, and more regression.
Is option volatility and like activity factored into your futures algos?
I have all of those past ones I've made. I currently don't use them. I would have to connect basically a third-party data source for NinjaTrader to trade it, and because they don't provide options volume, I would have to connect like a Interactive Brokers or like a TD Ameritrade. Well, now it's Charles Schwab, which I don't know if I love that, but yeah, you'd have to connect a third-party data source on that, and because I didn't want to do that, I haven't really tried to do that yet. But I have created automated options trading through TD Ameritrade in the past, where we would trade off of our options alerts.
Okay. We do have there's a lot of futures traders that focus on, the popular strike prices for options, and with the the short-term options. We get a lot of folks are kind of focusing on the liquidity that those provide in the futures markets. Is that something that you look at? I mean, I think there's some websites like Unusual Whales put those out, I think. A couple other websites.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of websites where you can follow options flow. I mean, there's there's Cheddar Flow, there's Unusual Whales, Bar Chart I think has it now. There's Traditix, which we use we actually partnered with Traditix and OpenBB to provide options flow and data to our Discord servers, and so those are really good. Cheap alternatives. Unusual Whales is good. It's got a cheap platform as well if you want to watch options flow. And really, like, the reason you want liquidity is just so that you're not trying to get a wide bid ask and getting a bad fill. It's the same thing with futures. You want to make sure you're getting the best fills so you have the best advantage of making profit.
Your market
has an option with 5 volume. You could have $1 spread and be down $100 on entry.
Right when you get in, right? Right. Just the liquidity. I mean, the market has a tendency to go to liquidity. So I think a lot of traders are kind of looking at that as the liquidity from the options bleeding into the futures.
I mean, when you're looking at options and how it affects futures, you're looking at, are people generally long? Are they generally short? Are they going to get caught underwater? So then you get a squeeze. And so you're looking, at maybe a gamma squeeze there. Or if you're looking at, say, someone, if we're short and sellers aren't able to push it down below the point of control, you could potentially get a squeeze into the end of the day and you could ride that. And so I think the thing is, like, when you try to analyze all that data,
too much.
It really becomes hard to be consistent because you're looking at too many things. I think the best traders I know have a simple system. And when you keep it simple and you can repeat it, that's when you're successful, in my opinion. I don't think a lot of traders need to look at options flow. I think a lot of people like doing that. I know people that look at Bookmap and things like that, and they're successful. It's just not for me. It's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest. There's so much information coming at us all at once, right?
Yeah. I think you just need to find, like I said, find your system that's repeatable and stick to it. And if you have simple rules that you can follow and you know what your risk reward is, and if you have a healthy enough risk reward, even if you have a 40% win rate, it's possible to be successful.
Oh, for sure.
If you're making double what you're risking, you can have a 40% win rate and be profitable.
100%.
I mean, a lot of people like to win every trade. It's just not possible, though.
Would be nice, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, right? Make a strategy or algorithm or something that you can do every time that you're successful on and win 100%. There's no such thing as perfect. You could chase perfect though, and I think it's worth chasing. It's just know that you'll probably never get there.
Right. Yeah. There is no perfection in trading. Right. So your easy algos, you're helping people provide helping them to create algos or providing strategies. What's it like? I mean, if I were to join Easy Algos, what am I looking at?
Sure. Well, right now we have a wait list, so there's no. We're not admitting anyone right now. I don't want it. I never wanted it to be like a large community. I'm not trying to sit here and just sell an algorithm to 1,000 people.
Right.
My dream with Easy Algos was to start a way for me to test out everything with a community of like-minded people that I could eventually go and start a quant fund with. Like, that's my real dream, is to go create a fund where, we're trading millions, billions. I want to be, the next private hedge fund that people want to put their money in, that they're getting 30% annual returns. That's the real goal. Like having the community right now, we're allowed to bounce ideas off each other and create algorithms together, and eventually we can scale it up. And that's really, really what I want to do. And I think that's, anybody out there should have big goals. I think even if you get halfway to your big goals, as long as they're really big, you're probably doing something right. And so that's always been my philosophy.
It's a good philosophy. How long is the waiting list?
Well, we just launched, so the waiting list isn't bad. I think I haven't really been marketing either. It's one of those things. So it's just been like friends and family. So I think maybe there's 5 people on it right now. So it's not like anything crazy.
All right. You say you like video games.
Yeah.
What video games do you play?
I've been a long time League of Legends player. I've been playing Starfield recently, and me and my wife play a game called Don't Starve, where we try not to get killed in. It's kind of fun. She's not really huge into video games, but we'll play. That's like a game where you got to go collect resources and gather food, and you get attacked, and the whole goal is just
survive.
Just to survive, yeah. See how long you can survive, and you try to beat your record from the last time you got killed. So it's like, I survived 100 days, and
it's
there's
like trading.
Different seasons. What's that?
It's like trading. Got to survive.
Yeah, see how long you can survive, right?
Yep. You got two babies. You still doing any traveling?
We try to take a trip every year. It's hard, but as they're getting older, it's becoming easier. But our youngest one doesn't love being in the car for a long time, so usually it's in state. We'll go to the Wisconsin Dells, or we'll go up to the Door County, which is above Green Bay. It's
nice.
really pretty up there.
Yeah, it is.
We tried to go down. We went last year down to Gulf Shores in Alabama. That was hard, but we made it work. It was fun. And then we want to go back down to Florida next year again. I really like Florida.
Cool. Well, are you both working from home?
Yeah, my wife works at GE, so she works with the engineers there. And then obviously I do this full time, so I've been working at home for a while now. Actually, my 2-year-old, we babysit at home to save money, and so this office is actually in my living room. And so she's out with my mom right now, so you don't hear her in the background. But usually, we take turns watching her while we're both working, and it works out and works really good.
Nice. Any thought of relocating? I mean, you like Florida. You work from home.
Well, my wife's really big on family. I'm big on family, so we don't want to move too far away from our family, but vacation home sounds nice.
There you go. Sure.
So, it's funny. My wife, I was talking to her about vacation home. She's like, why buy a house and get trapped into one place when we could just go wherever we want when we want? And I was like, that's true. But now you got, now you can rent your house out super easy when you're not there. You hire, a local manager to clean it and stuff, and you can turn it into, you can get vacation homes that you turn into investment properties now.
Sure.
So there's a lot of ways you could do that.
100%. Yeah. Just, buy a condo, put it on Airbnb.
Exactly. My dream has always been to own an island in the Caribbean, but my wife says she'll divorce me if I buy an island.
Buy not. Well,
She's like, you don't need an island. And I was like, yeah, but then you could say you own an island.
You own it, right? Well, we could say that's surviving, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like if you just want to get away, where can you get away where no one could get to you? I'll go to your private island, right?
That would be nice. Are there a lot of islands for sale?
I have actually researched this. That yes, there are. You could buy islands in Wisconsin, even up in like the Green Bay. There's a bunch of islands you can buy.
Washington Island up there.
Washington. I don't think you can buy property on Washington.
Buy property on it, right? You can't buy the whole thing, right?
You can't buy the whole thing, no. But there's some pretty big ones out there. No, the Caribbean, you can get an island for $500,000 down in the Caribbean. That's like probably 10 acres. Some of the bigger ones, you're talking up to 80 million for some of the islands down there. So it's a wide range. Then you gotta develop it. So you either want to buy a developed island, otherwise you're probably putting $1 million into developing it because you can't just have a contractor drive out, right? You got to pay for all the
yeah, that's going to be an expensive upgrade.
So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those dreams I'll probably never reach, but it still drives me and motivates me, and I think that's really what you need is just something to motivate you day to day to keep you moving. And hi, kitty, my cat's.
Yeah, you got a cat, I hear.
Yeah, this is Bagheera. He usually sits on my lap, but
you and Dolby.
His brother just died a month ago, so he's been really. Aww. Yeah, we've had him for a long time, but they're from the same litter, and now he gets a little needy when I'm not paying attention to him because he doesn't have his buddy,
Oh, that's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it's part of life, though, unfortunately.
Pardon? Yeah, it is.
I said it's part of life.
Yes, yeah, it is. It is. My dog, Lacey, thinks she's the center of the universe no matter what. So, that's just how that goes.
My dog is sitting at my feet right now.
Oh, you got a dog too?
Yeah, my kids love pets, so, and my wife does too. So we got a dog when we moved in here. She's about 7 years old, and I got her a little bed last week that she goes, and now she lays at my feet, and now she's my foot warmer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, kind of been doing nothing in the market for the last hour, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I caught the one pullback off the high on a short, which I knew wasn't going to be one I was going to fall in love with, but it's starting to come off a little bit now. I don't know. We'll have to see what the market offers for the rest of the day here. Yeah,
I played a short pre-market into open, and then got a couple longs off the open. So the short, unfortunately, came two ticks away from my profit target, and I didn't manually close it because it was an algorithm. And I was like, you just got to trust it. And then all of a sudden we got that moon candle on open. It hit my stop loss. Algorithm detect the unusual volume, and we went long, and I ended up breaking even. So I am up $32 today.
Hey, it's a positive day.
Yeah, I'll take green every day, baby. If it's green, it's good.
It's a good day. It's a good day. Yeah, that first minute opening range that I didn't take because we were in value from Friday. That was the spot right there. That long. But hey, it's okay. We're both up. We're both having a good day. We're doing well, and it's been really nice having the chance to talk to you. I've never really thought about trying to automate anything, but you got me thinking about it now.
I've actually, I'm currently working on trying to automate auction theory. So I have a prototype that it's okay. I got to add a lot of rules to it, but that's my dream, is to automate some of the stuff that I know guys have been successful with. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just make it work. Whatever else is working, right?
Just a better mousetrap.
Yeah. You don't need to make a better mousetrap if it already works.
Right. There you go. There you go. How long have you been with Topstep? How long have you been trading here?
So that was actually one of the reasons I got into futures originally. I always kind of scared me with the, how much money you needed. And then I was like, oh, shoot, that was one of the reasons I dabbled in the Forex originally. And I saw the prop firms with that. My buddy's like, why don't you just use Topstep? And I was like, what's Topstep? They're like, oh, they're located out of Chicago. They trade futures. And I was like, oh, yeah, let me check this out. So I've been with Topstep about a year. I've recommended it to everyone. I'd like to say I'm one of your biggest supporters in terms of how many people I've recommended it to. and we recommend it to all of our communities. And we've had a lot of success. I think we have, I could probably tell you, I want to say we have 100 people we've got helped get funded
Nice.
through Topstep. So we they maintain, they get payouts. We have some people that are cash funded. All of my staff are funded and trade cash accounts with you guys. So
Nice.
that's pretty exciting. And they trade futures with Topstep on live every day. So
Well, that's great. That's wonderful. Keep bringing them in, man. We're looking for good traders.
it's one of those things where if you don't want to risk your own money and you know what you're doing, I highly recommend it. So for me, it helps the peace of mind, I think, is the biggest thing. People get emotional, and using Topstep, you can trade your system without having the emotions come in as much, because when it's your actual money and you see yourself down $1,000, that can cause you to do things you wouldn't normally do.
Oh, yes.
So
Yes.
I'm sure you've been there.
Oh, yeah. I've made every mistake a million times. And, I probably still make mistakes, but I just view them as opportunities to learn. There's no destination to your trading career. I mean, you're going to be learning until the day you stop.
Exactly. And, I think taking what the market gives you instead of trying to force what you want the market to give you is one of the things you need to learn right away too. I used to try to say I want to make $1,000 a day. And so I try to go for that every day. And that's not how the market works, unfortunately.
I did that too for a while. I was trying to make 40 ticks in the S&P pit. That's $1,000. And I'd get up to, 38 or 39 ticks. And just trying to get that last couple of ticks, you'd have a loss and then another loss and then another loss. And before you know it, you're down money.
Yeah. I think making sure you raise your stops up also helps with that too.
Yeah. And, there's no finite in futures trading. If you're trying to make 40 ticks, be happy with 38.
That's a big move. You should absolutely be happy with that.
100%. 100%. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for being part of the community, Thomas. You're looking forward to seeing continued success for you and all of your people. And we really appreciate you coming out today, man. I get to Madison once in a while. I may knock on your door one of these days.
Absolutely. Maybe we can go watch the Badgers beat Ohio State or something.
There you go. That
didn't happen this year, but yeah, appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on. Keep doing what you guys are doing. You're really helping people out there.
Thank you, Thomas. And we'll look forward to catching you later, man. Trade well and come back and see us again.
All right. Thank you.